Good evening. I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Nada St. Germain, and this is one of my topics that's very near and dear to my heart. Some of you know my story, and when I'm looking back at my late teens and early 20s, I just remember really struggling with my cycle, really struggling. And some of you know my story. I mean, I was working as a police officer, right downtown Toronto. And I always struggled with my periods and my cycles. But when I started working shift work, they got really bad. I just remember just being tired all the time and heavy periods. And I remember even fainting at that time of the month. I even tried teaching fitness before I joined the police force. I was teaching fitness classes at a little fitness club. And I just remember passing out and then ambulance having to come and take me away and bring me. Anyways, it was just, I thought, wow, is this what's going to happen? Is this the way my life is going to be, with having these heavy periods all the time? And it was interesting because, I did join the police force, and after working shift work, the fatigue just got really, really bad. And my mom's health was really poor at the time as well. And someone introduced us to Nail Life. We started taking some of the products. I just loved the science. And I had a better understanding that, I didn't want to blame my diet because I was eating healthy. I was exercising, and I just didn't understand, or I really didn't believe in supplements because I was watching my mom take supplements for a number of years and they didn't help her health in any way. So when my neighbors shared, what products could help balance my hormones and help me with my cycles, I was really curious. And I thought, I got to find out more about this company. I got to find out how these are going to help me. And the story that I heard about the milling of the grain, I had this light go off, and I thought, wow, maybe this is the missing link that's missing in my diet. And as soon as I started taking these amazing nutritional products, they changed my life. Within a couple of months, my periods weren't perfect, but boy, were they manageable. I wasn't getting this weakness. I wasn't fainting, and I could still work out during that time of the month. And my mom's health improved. And I'm going to share my sister's story as I go along through this journey. But and I have to say that this topic is very, very complicated, and I don't claim to know everything. Usually we have our holistic nutritionist joining us this evening, but she's traveling abroad. And I said to Mary Ellen, I said, don't worry, I think I can cover this talk tonight, but I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible because, again, it is complicated, but nutrition is pretty simple. And when you see the difference in the deficiencies and what's missing in our food supply, you really have a better understanding on how you can help your body and really help to strengthen and support your hormones for men and women. Okay. So let's talk a little bit. I like to talk about diet because that is something that does play a role. And when you're looking at, 3 keys to optimal health, you do need to look at your weight, the weight management. Are you struggling? And one of the most common challenges or complaints we have from women that have struggled during that time when they're getting into menopause is they get this extra weight and they don't understand. They haven't changed anything they're doing. And they start putting on like this weight around the belly area. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later. And you got to look at your diet. Sometimes, people think, oh, I'm going to take this magic pill and I'm going to lose weight. Well, it doesn't always happen. So you do need to look at eating healthy, better food choices and physical activity, especially when you're looking at hormones. As we get older, we need to exercise even more. There needs to be a regular routine. And I always tell people, find what you like to do and do it often, right? Not everybody likes hot yoga. I love it, right? Not everybody, likes to cycle. Shelley loves it, right? So it just depends on what you're doing and what you love, but just find something you love to do and do it to keep that, your adrenals going, to keep the circulation flowing. So important. And, when you look at the Canadian Food Guide, I was so grateful that they changed it back in 2019, where they talked about how half of your plate should be those dark colored fruits and vegetables. And you do need to have some good quality protein and some whole grains, and water should really be your drink of choice. So does your plate look like this every single day? When I look at this and I look at what our young teenagers are consuming and our young children, their plates don't look like this. And you wonder why there's so many challenges with hormones and mental health and and young girls are really struggling with, with their cycles. And you got to look at your food. You got to look at what's missing. Now, let's though talk about a recent study that came out of Lancet. Did you know that this study was done in over 190 countries? And they found that what we aren't eating is actually killing us. And this was a global study that was done. We're not eating enough whole grains, fruit, nuts and seeds, omega-3 foods, and low vegetables. This is one of the greatest deficiencies, and this is why we're having so many challenges with our hormones, with energy, with age-related diseases. How do we get enough of these foods in our diet? And some of these foods are heavily milled and heavily processed. So it's a huge, huge challenge. And we're going to talk about these foods and how we can get some of these key nutrients in our diet through supplementation and making better food choices. So let's talk about some of the hormonal issues that are happening in our bodies and what the thyroid does. And, the thyroid produces two hormones, T4 and T3. It also produces calcitonin to regulate calcium and bone health. It affects every cell in the body. So if you're not getting those key nutrients to help regulate your thyroid, things are going to go wrong eventually down the road, especially as we age. So we need to support our hormones. And when the thyroid doesn't work, you have increased hypothyroidism, which is like Graves' disease, autoimmune thyroid, and hypothyroidism like Hashimoto's. And we're going to cover these conditions as we go along. And when you're looking at hypothyroidism, it is a common problem. It affects 23% of the population, mostly women, but up to an additional 20 to 30% are undiagnosed, classified as subclinical hypothyroid. So many women are walking around with these challenges and they're not diagnosed. Some of the common signs, and I had many of these on this list. I don't know if some of you, when you look at some of these, the tiredness, constipation, loss of interest, forgetfulness, dry, coarse hair, hoarse voice, loss of eyebrow hair, puffy face and eyes, goiter, anemia, irregular heartbeat, dry skin, cold intolerance, weight gain, heavy menstrual periods, that was me, brittle nails, that was me, infertility, recurring miscarriage, raging hot flashes, and night sweats. So, it's interesting when I look at this, a lot of these symptoms for myself, because I was in my early 20s, and I started to address some of these through filling the gaps. The hot flash thing and the night sweats never happened with me. And I'm going back because, I made changes in my diet over 35 years ago. And I've watched my mom and my aunts who also started with me on this journey 35 years ago, and they sailed through menopause. So there's a lot you can do to help regulate your hormones. We're going to be talking about this. And I'm really excited about this because I know so many women are struggling and they've been searching and it's such a simple solution. So when you're looking at things that, disrupt our hormones, some foods that can be kind of causing or not causing, that can be aggravating or not helping the symptoms. Coffee that is not organic. And I started drinking a clean organic coffee a couple of years ago. And do you know what? Even though I had great results with some of the supplements I've been taking, doing that as an add-on made a huge difference. And I got that tip from our holistic nutritionist, Mary Ellen, who said our coffee there's a lot of pesticides. So you got to look at how much coffee you're consuming and making sure that it's organic and clean. Alcohol, again, moderation, commercial dairy products, commercial meat, chicken, when you're looking at the estrogen and testosterone, farmed fish, a huge, huge challenge. Our fish today is, if it's farmed, you just don't know the kind of chemicals and pesticides and toxins that are in the fish that you're eating. And then pesticides on fruits and vegetables. So see, these are some of the things that, again, are hormone disrupting foods. Let's talk about soy, because I know that was a lot of people talk about soy and say, oh, soy is bad. And is it, and that was something that I looked at 35 years ago. Soy intake in 5,042 breast cancer survivors in Shanghai, it reduced their death risk by 29% and reoccurrence of breast cancer by 32%. So there's a lot of research supporting that soy is good and that we need soy to balance and regulate our hormones. Because I know in the past, there's been a lot of kind of controversy, and even MD Anderson, the Cancer Center, they say that soy may benefit breast cancer survivors. You know, we've gone saying from no soy for breast cancer survivors to it's not going to hurt. And now it looks like we can say it may even help. So you got to look at the quality of the soy though, and make sure it's not genetically modified. But soy is good, and it does play a really good role, big role in regulating hormones. And women with breast cancer who eat more soy are less likely to die or have a reoccurrence of cancer than women who eat few or no soy products, according to a new study by the Journal of the American Medical Association. And that was back in December 2012. So there's so much research going back saying that soy is just fine, even Stanford School of Medicine. But again, our soybeans that are out there are genetically modified. You know, they take the gene of plants and animals and microbes, and they change the, you know, the genetic formation of these soybeans. And so they're not the soy that were in their natural state back 70 years ago. So it's kind of scary because soy has good things in it, but what's out there today is just not the same soybeans that we should be consuming. And today's most common genetically modified foods are corn, tomatoes, you know, some of your fruit, you know, and our fish, and our wheat, and our rice, and our soybeans. So it's really scary that we're, you know, most of the foods that we're consuming today, the seeds have been genetically modified. So that's just why there's so many other challenges, especially with goiters. Goiters develop when the thyroid gland does not make enough hormone. So the thyroid gland tries to make up for this shortage by growing larger. In certain areas of the world have endemic goiters because there's not enough iodine in their diet, causing the thyroid to grow. Some goiters are caused by certain medications. So if people are taking things like lithium, it could be hereditary, female gender, more common in those over 40. If you have an autoimmune disease where the immune system attacks the thyroid, making it grow, and nodular growth called nodules in the thyroid gland, also causing it to grow larger. So these are some of the challenges when you're looking at not having the proper nutrients to support the thyroid. And thyroid and iron and ferritin. So low iron decreases T3 and T4 hormones. So again, that's affecting our thyroid. And low iron impairs the conversion of T4 to more potent T3. Low iron goes hand in hand with low ferritin, because low thyroid causes low hydrochloric acid in the stomach and poor iron absorption. So yeah, this big vicious cycle. You don't have enough iron, you know, low hydrochloric acid, your body's not absorbing nutrients. So that's where the fatigue comes in, and low energy, and you're dragging your butt. You know, low thyroid also causes low body temperatures, causing you to make less red blood cells where iron is carried. And low thyroid causes heavy periods and subsequently a low ferritin, and it is a vicious cycle. So it's this constant challenge. And what do you do? What do we do? Well, we have to make sure the thyroid is getting, you know, what we call a hormone recipe, things to help to support and regulate our hormones. Some of the symptoms for low iron, and most of us hear the fatigue, peeling fingernails, heart palpitations, dark circles under their eyes. That is a very common symptom. Fertility problems, hair loss, premature graying of hair, poor concentration, pale skin, heavy periods, low thyroid, cold hands and feet, restless legs, breathlessness with exertion. So the average Canadian gets about 8 milligrams of iron, and we need around 20 milligrams of iron. So adrenal glands and hormonal health. So when you're looking at the adrenals, you know, one thing that happens when we're under a lot of stress, the body tries to adapt, okay? And we call it like adrenal gland exhaustion, right? So we want to make sure that the adrenals are being supported so that we can deal with stress. And when your adrenal glands are working properly, you know, you can help the kidney in controlling water balance, you know, provides hormones with the ovaries that decrease production. produces progesterone and estrogen precursor hormones and testosterone, which balance the effects of cortisol. Now, in males, the adrenals are the exclusive source of estrogen. So men are affected by this. You want to make sure that men are getting the proper nutrients as well to support their adrenal glands. And, exhausted adrenals promote low thyroid, and exhausted adrenals equals imbalanced hormones. So I had exhausted adrenals. I was exhausted. Even before the shift work, when I joined the police force, when you're in your 20s, I think some of you might agree with this, where even though you're tired, you push yourself and you go on adrenaline. And I was going on adrenaline. I didn't know that I had adrenal gland exhaustion because I was so excited with my career and I was pushing myself and I loved exercising. I was pushing myself, but I didn't realize that I was literally draining my adrenal glands. Okay. And when I felt it, when I tried to watch a movie at night, I could not stay awake. I was asleep on that couch. As soon as I sit down, I was out cold. So that was some of the challenges that I had growing up in my teens. Now, symptoms of adrenal fatigue, you can fall asleep, but wake up and can't get back to sleep. Low thyroid, fatigue, exhaustion, chronic fatigue syndrome, that was me. Hypoglycemia, alcohol intolerance. It's funny, when that comes up, I remember, I couldn't have more than one drink without feeling like way off. Back pain, aching muscles, weak legs, low and high blood pressure, allergies, asthma, inflammatory conditions. And I had allergies. I had inflammatory conditions. I look at this, I think, oh my gosh. And then there's nervousness, anxiety, insomnia, craving stimulants like coffee, sugar, salt, and alcohol, decrease in skin pigment, sign, shortness of breath, recurrent infections, digestive problems. So these are so many symptoms that are linked to adrenal fatigue. So when you look at all of these symptoms and we look at the challenges that we have, we have something called a hormone recipe. One thing is not going to help the condition. So for example, if you want to bake a cake, you need flour, eggs, baking soda, baking flour, you need, some form of a liquid. The flour alone will not make a cake. Okay, guys. So when you're looking at hormones, the hormones are quite complicated. They need a variety of different nutrients to help to regulate your hormones. You need lipids and sterols, which are good fats. We're going to be talking about vitamins, trace elements like minerals, omega-3 fatty acids, and protein. So these are all the key nutrients that help to regulate and balance your hormones. So for adrenal support, these are some of the things we're going to be talking about in a little more detail as we go through the presentation. But what I want you to understand is you don't need to take all of this. I'm going to talk about some of these key nutrients, and then we're going to be focusing on just some of the basics, see what it does. Okay, that's really, really important. I don't want to overwhelm you with too much stuff, but sometimes people need more. And I'm going to share some of those stories and testimonials with you so you can understand, when and why sometimes you need to add a few extra things to get your hormones regulated and balanced properly. So we're going to be talking about Pro Vitality. We're going to be talking about tran and grain concentrates. Vitamin C actually is also used by adrenal glands for stress adaptation. Neolife Shake, which is protein, it supplies all the 22 amino acid. It helps to build hormones and neurotransmitters. Vitamin B or Super B, oh my gosh, for stress, especially if you're a high stress, high-strung person, our B vitamins help you deal with the stress. Your adrenals aren't as overloaded, okay? And then de-stressing, meditation, breathing exercises, very important that you take time out to relax and breathe. And that also helps supporting and regulating your adrenals. This is a study that was done in 2010 by women who ate diets high in vegetables, fruit, fish, and whole grains were less likely to suffer from depression. And a growing body of research is helping to understand the role of nutrition that it plays in mental health. This is really important. So you got to look at, remember that Lancet study, right? We're not getting these foods. We're not eating enough of these foods. You can just imagine why so many people are struggling with some of these issues. And our grains today, guys, are no longer whole. When you're looking at our whole grains, 70 years ago, you were getting whole grains. No more. They used to grow the wheat, grind the wheat, make the flour, and make the bread. And the oils were in the husk of the grain. So when you ate those foods, you were getting those essential lipids, those good fats from our grain. They started milling and processing our grains in the 30s and 40s, so our foods had a longer shelf life. Look at the breads now, guys. How long does bread last? Weeks, cereals, years, pasta lasts forever. You know, we call it the great grain robbery because of mass production. They want longer shelf life. We're now third and fourth generation not having these essential lipids and phytosterols, these good fats in our grain anymore. They're precious oils. You know, they contain 22 important nutrients, but when they remove it, what's left? This white flour, starch, protein, gluten, no longer in our food. And this is where, you know, when I first heard this grain oil story, because I really believed that by eating a healthy diet, that I was getting these key nutrients from our food. And then when I realized that these were no longer in our food, I thought, wow, maybe this is the missing link in my diet. What an impact when I started taking these essential fatty acids. It really played a huge factor in balancing and regulating our hormones. So the research, Formula 4, this is an old study. This goes way, way back. So Neolife, so our founder, Donald Pickett, the founder of the Neolife Company of America, he introduced a product called Formula 4 Tran Grain Concentrate. This is the product that I started taking 35 years ago. And it contains the grains, the concentrate. This story is, you know, one of that has transpired over 4 decades. The original formula developed around a hospital studies performed in the 1940s is still being sold by Neolife today. 65 years later, guys, this product is still being sold. It's impacting people's lives, and the formula has not changed since 1958. So this is pretty powerful. So this is an incredible product. And the studies that have come out of this, even way back then, were about adrenal activity, estrogenic activity, androgenic activity, all to do with hormones. And Dr. Arthur First, he was the vice chairman back then and senior member of the Neolife Scientific Advisory Board. He is one of the world's leading researchers and played an important role in assuring that the study was conducted on a solid scientific basis. So we have science to prove this. And again, this is what it looked like back in 1958. And Neolife is the first company to have a protein shake on the market. So we go way, way, way back. And Jeannie Aldridge, she is the first person to ever try Tran in 1958. I met Jeannie, oops, a bit of a typo, my bad. But anyways, so, you know, when I met Jeannie and I heard her story, I was in awe. And I even asked her when I was there, I said, you know, Jeannie, who do you trust? How can I trust Neolife? And it was 2 months in the business when I met Jeannie. And, you know, her story was so powerful. And she just said to me, you young people need to share this. You need to get this information out and share this information. And I was scared because who do you trust? There's so many products out there that were, you know, being tested and you know, between 2007 and 2016, they found 776 products that were marketed as dietary supplements contain hidden active ingredients that are unsafe or unstudied. So when I heard Jeannie's story, I just knew that there was something different. And also when I looked at Neolife as a company, a name that you can trust, scientific health solutions since 1958, that grain oil story, Tran, hands down, started this company, but established in over 50 countries, a pioneer in the industry, and the most respected scientific research team. This is what drew me to the company. They're not just made from natural sources. They're made from whole food, whole grains, fruits, and vegetables, wild salmon, and GMO-free. Just like that Lancet study stated, this is what we aren't eating enough of, and this is what's killing us. Well, guess what? Neolife makes all of their supplements from whole food, non-GMO. Every plant or animal sourced ingredient is identity preserved. This is really important. The purest extractions and concentrates, state-of-the-art processing technologies and equipment guarantee the purest extractions and concentrates. Neolife Scientific Advisory Board. Many of you that are on this evening, we're going to meet many of these scientists in just about 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. I'm so excited. I had the opportunity of meeting Dr. Arthur first, and what a brilliant mind. But he put together the world-renowned scientists and nutrition experts. They're active, they're published, and they're very well respected. Most companies have scientists or doctors that endorse the product. They're not actually involved in doing research and developing the product. But what's really important was where Dr. First came from. He founded the Stanford Cancer Chemotherapy Laboratory. He is credited with being the founder of chemotherapy. He led the Neolife Scientific Advisory Board for 25 years. PhD in chemistry from Stanford, a doctor of science from the University of San Francisco, a diplomat of the Academy of Toxicological Sciences, a distinction held by fewer than 100 scientists around the world. Now, he shifted his focus to prevention and ending the trend of chronic disease when he discovered what Neolife was all about and found out about that grain oil and TRANN research. He knew that he had to be a part of this incredible company and dedicated the rest of his life with Neolife. And I had the opportunity of hanging out with him. This is Mary Ellen, our holistic nutritionist. I think this must be about probably 30 years ago. Anyways, he was such a beautiful soul. And his heart was like, he just really wanted to help people and impact people's lives and get the message out that we needed to supplement some of these key nutrients that were missing from our food. And because of him, publications, we have been published in the world's most prestigious, peer-reviewed scientific journals. And this is not just done by Neolife. Third-party credibility, which is really important as well. So let's talk about just some of the Neolife solutions. I'm going to have people share some of their amazing stories and testimonials. So I talked about that Vitality Pack. Remember that Lancet study where they talked about what we aren't eating is actually killing us? The grains, the fish, the nuts, the seeds, right? The omega-3s. Well, all of those nutrients are in this vitamin pack called Pro Vitality. This is such a great foundation for overall health. It helps to fill the gap, what's missing in our diet, and just gives you those key nutrients that are missing that we're not eating enough of. And TRANN, hands down, number one, it's the essential lipids and phytosterols from whole grain, less gluten than a bowl of gluten-free cereal, developed for a hospital research study. It helps to promote cellular energy and efficiency. It reduces menopausal symptoms. So this is the product that, again, really made an impact in my cycles, energy, mental clarity, and it just made my cells work better. Bottom line, that's what it does, making your cells work better, because we have 73 trillion cells. Every single cell functions this way. Nutrients in, waste out. But guess what? Every cell is surrounded by that good fat, those lipids, to keep the cell membrane soft and permeable so nutrients can go in and waste can go out. So if you're not getting these oils in your diet, your cells look like the cell on the left. Hard and sticky, nutrients can't get in, waste can't get out. Texas A&M University, they did a study using our TRANN grain concentrate, and they proved that your cells will absorb 50% more of the nutrients from your diet. This is why when people take this, they feel better. Then there's our fruits and veggies. So do you know how many servings we should be eating every single day? I think 9 to 13 servings a day is what they're saying that we should be eating. Who eats that? I try, and I travel with the cooler. It's hard. One of these in this Vitality Pack in a month is equivalent to consuming 80 pounds of raw fruits and veggies in every box. Just one. Pretty powerful. And it's made from tomatoes and carrots and spinach and apricots and peaches, all made from whole food. They stay within the human food chain. Then there's omega-3s. Omega-3s for heart, inflammation, brain, immunity, eye health, joints, cognitive function, but it plays a really big role in balancing and regulating your hormones as well. The difference in our omega-3, first of all, it has all 8. Most omega-3s out there only have EPA and DHA. Neolife gives you all 8 omega-3, tested for 200 contaminants with an allowance of 0 Our fish is not genetically modified, pure Atlantic cold pressed fish, and it was proven clinically to reduce inflammation 68% in just 8 weeks. This really played a huge role in my joint pain, my mom with her fibromyalgia. And when there's inflammation in the body, your hormones are also not balanced properly. So this is so important to make sure that you're reducing inflammation, and that's what this fish oil will do. You're getting one of these in every single Vitality pack. And guess what? The Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, they actually made a very powerful statement that the Neolife fish oil is safe for pregnant moms. A lot of omega-3s out there is not safe for pregnant moms, for babies, or for kids because of the potential of having mercury, lead, and toxins, whereas Neolife has a 0 tolerance factor. Then there's a multi. So in this amazing multivitamin pack, you're getting 12 pounds of whole grain, 80 pounds of fruits and veggies, 10 servings of omega-3 fish in every single box in 1 month. Incredible product to fill the gap, to help to make sure that you're getting these key nutrients in your diet every single day. And helps to support energy, aging, joints, skin, hair, nails, heart health, immunity, brain function, clear vision, antioxidant protection, and really just lifelong cellular health, making sure your cells are working properly. Then when you add proteins, remember we talked about the hormone recipe, right? Lipids and sterols, vitamins and minerals, and protein, right? Those are the key nutrients that you need. You add protein or Neolife shake to this, it's a complete protein. Now, why protein? Well, first of all, protein does help with digestion, aids in digestion. It helps to fight infection and disease, but guess what? It plays a huge role in balancing and regulating your hormones. It helps with collagen in our skin. It also helps to regulate blood sugar. So all of these things for protein. And there's nothing artificial. It's natural, all 22 amino acids. You know, I have not gone a day in 35 years without a Neolife shake, other than when we do our detox for 2 days, there's no protein. My kids grew up on this product. They're now 23 and 25, and they still take it every single day. Such an incredible product for blood sugar, energy, immunity, but powerful to balance and regulate your hormones. And there's nothing artificial. No high fructose corn syrup, no preservatives, no gluten, no cholesterol, no saturated fats, 90% lactose free, and again, no GMO ingredients. And we also have a vegan option for people that are more plant-based. It's delicious. It's a vanilla flavor. And it's just another product to help you fill the gap. Again, our protein shakes help to regulate blood sugar. So why is that important for hormones? Well, remember I talked about how, you know, when you start hitting that premenopause or perimenopause and you start kind of putting on some weight, well, the Neolife shake and the vegan shake helps to regulate blood sugar. So great for weight loss and or diabetics, but prevents fat storage and promotes fat burning and maintains that consistent daily energy. You know, you don't get those highs and lows that most people get, and that's when you store fat. So this is fabulous for those of us that are struggling a little bit to burn fat. And we've had amazing results and success stories. And, you know, our weight loss system is not just about losing weight, but it's about keeping it off. This is Gabby after 5 years, and I think it's now another 3 years after this, and she's kept the weight off. So just incredible, incredible results with Gabby and her weight loss. So it is a breakfast. So we call it like a breakfast solution. You know, even if you have one protein shake in the morning with that Vitality pack, that is a great foundation for the whole family. If you're looking at weight loss, you can do 2 protein shakes a day if you're looking at doing the full weight loss system. But I'm going to have Sarina share her story because hers is pretty awesome when it comes to that weight gain.
And I did reach out to my doctor. A couple of years ago, I was really struggling with chronic fatigue and brain fog, as well as some weight gain too. And I just was not myself, not feeling well at all. And I did reach out to my doctor, and he ran some tests for things like thyroid and diabetes. And all my results came back fine, which I was very thankful for. But I really was struggling through my day just to even try to get through, you know, my day without feeling so tired all the time. And my family and I had used the Neolife products about 5 years ago. And when I had, you know, searched out for another solution to help me feel better, I remembered what I had heard about the Neolife products, and the science and the purity, whole food, and non-GMO. And that's when I decided that I would reach back out to Nada and ask for her advice on if there was something that could help me with what was going on. And she shared and gave me some great information, and I started on the breakfast solution. And within a couple of weeks, my brain fog started to clear. Within a couple more weeks, my energy, and then the weight started going as well. I didn't have a lot of weight to lose, but I did start noticing the shrinking. And it definitely was. I didn't realize at the time, but it definitely was hormonal imbalance and adrenal fatigue. I had been going through a very stressful time within the last couple of years previous, and just helping to balance the hormones has really helped to maintain my weight now. It's a lot easier to maintain my weight. So very, very grateful for these products. It also has some great benefits for my kids and my husband. And so thank you for asking me, Jer, and I hope it can help others. Thanks for asking.
Okay. There we go. So that was Sarina. Some of you know her. She's just done so amazing. She's so grateful. She actually even went off and got a course, became a nutritionist, and she took a course, and she just got her papers. And she's just so passionate about sharing and helping people. This was actually a story that we that was published in one of our healthy community groups on Facebook. And you know, when you're looking at Michelle Coble, this is her daughter. Flavia, she was adopted, and because of her language barrier, her mom shared her story. So 5 years ago, she was diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease, a thyroid condition. The doctor said she had a 5% chance of not being on medication, sorry, for not being on medication for the rest of her life. She started medication, but per her request, also changed her diet and started Neolife supplements. 6 months later, she was medication free. So that's, you know, this is the kind of stories that we get. And 1 year ago, my friend Linda from Athens, Georgia, was introduced to Neolife. She has been suffering from horrible digestive issues as well as tremendous side effects from Hashimoto's. Linda started on 2 Pro Vitality packs, quickly added the Neolife protein shakes. Over time, Linda incorporated this additional product list from Neolife, just a few other products. And after the past 6 months, on all of the above, Linda had recently received results from her general practitioners as well as the naturopath doctors that her blood work showed no signs of Hashimoto's. These are the kinds of stories, you know, and I'm not saying we can cure some of these conditions, but it's amazing how when you give your body the proper nutrients that it needs, that the hormones just start to do what they need to do. And that's what we're providing is good nutrition. And this is Cheyenne's story, just one of our younger testimonials. And for introducing Cheyenne to Neolife. And some of you might know, but Cheyenne is our hairdresser. Right. And she's on her feet hours and hours a day, loves her job. And I know she shares with me that if it wasn't for the good nutrition, you know, that she wouldn't be able to be doing what she's doing, her passion, and creating amazing hair. So anyways, I'm going to have her share her story, and it's quite powerful. This was only after 2 weeks of her using Neolife.
My name is Cheyenne. I've been using Neolife just for 2 weeks now, which doesn't seem like a long time, but you'd be surprised. I have 3 different autoimmune disorders. I have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, positive rheumatoid arthritis factors in my joints, and I have PCOS. I am 25, and just being on Neolife for 2 weeks, I already eliminated. I have coffee out of my diet. Like, I have so much energy. I used to be sore all the time, which I'm already noticing that's going away. My energy levels, like I said, with my PCOS and my Hashimoto's. So I have a lot more life in me, and yeah. Oh, I'm on Pro Vitality pack, so the breakfast pack. So I take the grain oils, the carotenoids, the salmon, and the multivitamin, and the shakes every day. And I love it.
Whenever I go to get my hair done, Cheyenne always has her protein shaker cup there, and she's ready to go, because you know what it's like with some of these professions where they don't take time out, right, to eat, or they usually grab something that's not very healthy. So this has been a lifesaver for her. So, you know, we talked about the hormone recipe, the basic hormone recipe, and the breakfast pack is what Cheyenne talked about. And that's the Vitality Pack and the protein shake. Okay. We also have a product called Formula 4 that has iron. It has more tREAN and iron. So that's sometimes something that might need to be added, depends on how serious your condition is. There's also calcium, magnesium, extra minerals, and again, sometimes more tREAN is needed. So this is like your basic hormone recipe. So let's talk about some other challenges with women in hormones. So anemia, right? Loss of iron, loss of blood. So there's other nutrients that are helpful. So always look at the breakfast solution. And sometimes you might have to add zinc. And we even have a product called Endurance, which is if you're really, really, really low iron, and the Formula 4 and the Vitality Pack doesn't help, then you might have to add the Endurance. Then there's amenorrhea, not menstruating at all. Increase the Formula 4, and I have a beautiful story testimonial that's going to be shared very shortly on that. And then dysmenorrhea, painful menstruating. That was me, brutal, passing out. I added the B and the E and along with that breakfast solution, and poof, incredible. Like anyways, so excited that I didn't know my periods were coming and going. So it was so much more pleasant. But here's my sister, Diana, who really struggled with her hormones, and she's going to share her story.
Yeah, so I don't have to read, this is my story up here right now, but I'm not going to read the whole story. I'm going to talk about what I've been through. So I did, when I was younger, I was a massive, like I was into dieting and exercise, and I did a lot of too much dieting and exercising where it really affected my health. I would lose like too much weight, and then I'd exercise too much, and it got to the point where when I hit probably in my 30s, my periods just stopped, and it was really concerning because I knew it wasn't normal and I didn't know what to do. So I had gone to, like, I waited, and then I was hoping it would just come back, but then it didn't, and I went to a doctor, and they just put me on like estrogen pills. So I was on estrogen for probably I would say almost a year, and I still did not get my period. And I knew I heard bad things about taking estrogen, and it wasn't like healthy and everything. So I was kind of scared while I was taking it, but I just didn't. I thought, well, the doctor said I should take it, so maybe it will help me. Didn't get my period. And then I had talked to my sister, and I said, you know, like I'm concerned, and like, what should I do? And then she didn't realize that I hadn't had my period for that long either. So she's like, we sat down, and we kind of went through a plan of what I needed. And I was taking the vitamins, but I wasn't consistent. I was taking like here and there, a little bit of vitamin C, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Like I wasn't consistently taking the vitamins. So Nada and I had talked, and as soon as I started on a program of the Formula 4, which had the grain concentrates and other things like the salmon oil with the grain, with the essential fatty acids, and B vitamins and protein. And I really, really like stuck to this program of taking it consistently. And there was like 6 or 7 Formula 4 a day, and like 5 or 6 salmon oil a day. Like I just was really, I didn't want to be on the hormone therapy anymore. So it took about, I would say, 6 months. And then I started to get my period normally. And it was like, it came back, and I was so excited. I called Nat. I was like over the moon excited. And then ever since then, like my period was on the mark, like every 26 days, it was like completely normal. And then I just never looked back. Like I was so excited to have it back. And then I was worried too, like going into my late 30s, because that's when I had children. I was actually 40 when I had my first child, but I didn't think, I was like, will I be able to have children? Like I was a little bit worried, like, because my periods were so crazy, and I didn't have them for a while. And I thought, but no problems. Like I had I got pregnant right away. I had 2 healthy pregnancies. So that was really such a like a great thing for me to have that in my life. And then another thing I wanted to mention too was I also had suffered from cystic acne when I was like in my late 20s and in my 30s, and it was really bothersome as well. So that went away, and I know that the grain oils help with that, because even when like I would kind of sway away from like taking the grain oils or taking like being consistent later on in life, every time I would notice that I would get like the acne and stuff could come back. And so I would never ever, like, that's something that I can't consistently take is the grain oils, because it's helped me with my hormones and with the cystic acne and my period. So that was something that really helped me. So I'm very grateful.
There you go.
Yeah. So
there we go. All right. Sorry. Techie stuff. So yeah. So can you see why I'm so excited? I mean, you know, when you hear stories like that, and people are so grateful for the impact, and this is another amazing story. Deb's journey is so wonderful. I'm just going to read it to you because it goes back. But anyway, so I'm so grateful for Neil Life. After years of trying to get pregnant and failed fertility treatments, I reached out to Nada for some advice. She and my dad worked together on the police force, and he always spoke so highly of the products. I had nothing to lose and decided to give them a try. As my husband and I went through IV, infertility treatments, I continued to use Neil Life. We welcomed a beautiful baby boy, and he is on Liquivite, fish oil, and shake. I continued to take the products after giving birth and helping me so much with postpartum stage. I highly recommend Neil Life and thank Nada for all the support through this journey. But what's even cooler than this, guys, I saw this post on Facebook about a year, maybe a year and a half ago. And she had another picture of her holding another baby. So I messaged her and I said, Deb, what's going on? She posted a picture of an ultrasound. And I'm like, what is that? Anyways, her story was amazing. Total surprise, no fertility treatments. But you know what happened after she had her first baby? She talked with a naturopath, and they told her that there was a lot of research on CoQ10 helping with forming strong follicles, and played a really big role in fertility and getting pregnant. So she decided to add Neil Life's CoQ10 on top of the breakfast solution. She got pregnant naturally. So the ubiquinol can improve your chances of conception. This was proven and published. A doctor, Barton, she's a certified herbalist and a birth doula. And she was reviewed by Christine Traxler, she's an MD, improves both egg and sperm health while playing a key role in protecting the DNA at a cellular level. So again, just something that was such great news. And, you know, this is something that, you know, we learn as we grow, and Neil Life never had a CoQ10 until just a few years ago. So it was kind of cool that this was something that she added, and she naturally didn't have to go on any kind of treatment and had her second baby. And I saw her just last month. She was here visiting from New Brunswick, and with both of her kids. And it was so wonderful to see how happy she was. So such a beautiful time. So Neil Life's CoQ10 supports heart health and cellular energy. It helps with mitochondrial energy as well. It's naturally sourced. You know, it has that phytolipid blend and sterile blend. You know what? It works. That's the bottom line. It enhances bioavailability. It just gets to the cell, it gets to where it needs to get to, and it gives your body what you need. So other things. So we also have things like menorrhagia, which is like excessive bleeding, and that's what I had. And I know, you know, when I started taking some of the products and vitamin E, then there's your PCOS that Cheyenne was talking about. The hormone recipe is what really helped her. So it might just be enough. And then the infertility, we've got more Formula 4 if it's needed, and the CoQ10 that Deb was talking about, how she added that to her regime. And then if you have really bad PMS, you can always add the B vitamins. If you have a lot of acne, vitamin A and a good bacteria really helps. And if you have bowel irregularity, we've got the acidophilus and aloe and a fiber. So there's other things that we have to help to support some of these challenges that you might be having due to hormonal balance. And if you have a lot of sinus issues, vitamin A and C is helpful. If you have heart palpitations, calcium and B vitamins, headaches, You know, sometimes people just add more salmon oil to that breakfast solution. Amazing results. Forgetfulness, the hormone recipe. I think you heard Sarina talk about that, how the brain fog was gone. And so even just being on the breakfast solution, it'll really, really help to support that as well. Low libido, vitamin E, endometriosis. Sometimes this can be a bit more of a challenge because there's a lot of stuff happening. You know, you might need to increase the vitamin E, even doing a yeast cleanse that we have, taking more antioxidants for immunity. Same with fibroids and fibroid tumors. Again, supporting the immune system is really important. Ovarian cysts, same thing, increasing the stuff for the immune system, carotenoids, and we have a product called Tray. So again, these are some of the things that you might want to look at, especially if you're dealing with some of these more serious symptoms. And just remember, you know, reach out to us. We can talk with you and guide you through some of these systems. But I always say, start with something simple. Start with the basics. Start with the breakfast solution. See how you feel. And then we can talk about maybe adding some of the other products through your healing journey. Like menopause. I mean, sometimes women get so bad and you know, they need more. And sometimes they need to add more herbs. They need to improve their digestion, especially if they're really struggling with that change. And even breast cancer, you know, again, you might need more products to really help to support the body naturally, to give your body and your cells the proper nutrition that the cells need. Now, I have the pleasure of sharing Joanne's story. She was going to come on tonight. Actually, I saw her just the other day, and she came by to pick up something, and I asked her if she'd come on tonight. She goes, Ned, I can't. She goes, I'm helping my kids tonight. She goes, but can I send you a picture? She goes, and please share my story and my testimonial, because her story goes way, way back. So in my late 20s, I started to experience menopausal symptoms, such as hot flashes, night sweats, trouble concentrating, difficulty sleeping. I couldn't deal with them any longer and started taking hormone replacement therapy, HRT with estrogen and progesterone. You have to remember, she was in her 20s, guys. 4 years of being on HRT. My doctor even recommended that I go off it because of its horrible long-term side effects. At that time, I advised him that I would be a wreck without it, and presently needed it to live day to day. I had already tried everything the health food store, health food books recommended with no luck. I was introduced to Neolife products by my friend Susan. I was skeptical when I heard they had products that might help with my menopausal problems. I had already had good results with Neolife supplements to help with headaches and knee problems, and decided to give them a try. So you have to remember, she was taking some products already, okay? But then we added stuff to support hormones. Within 6 months of taking Formula 4, Neolife Shake, Feminine Herbal Complex, Vitamin E, Multimineral, Cruciferous, I was off HRT. My previous symptoms have not come back. I'm now 57, and I couldn't be more pleased. Thanks so much for Neolife for their wonderful products. This is Joanne Watson. She lives in Brampton. So yeah, it was really cool to chat with her the other day. And she says, please share my story. I'm still feeling great. And it's been such a beautiful, beautiful journey. So as you can see, you know, Neolife has so many health solutions. But I highly recommend, again, starting with something as simple as a breakfast solution, maybe adding 1 or 2 things, and just see how you feel. And go from there. And it's free to become a member of our wellness club. If you're not a member, become a member. You automatically get a discount, anywhere from 10 to 20% off the retail. If you go on NeoShip, you get a 20% savings. You know, you can even get all your shipping back for being a loyal customer. We can even help you get your products for free through a referral program. So many of our customers are getting their products for free. You know, we even have fitness challenges and weight loss challenges that you can be a part of. And, you know, when you're looking at the health packs, you know, you can start with something simple like the Vitality Pack, or you can add the shakes, which is the breakfast solution. If you're looking at, you know, losing more weight, then you can consider maybe even doing our weight loss system. And again, we have a group on Facebook that we can invite you to once we're friends, Facebook friends. And we have over 11,000 members now in this group, where people share their amazing stories and testimonials on how these products have impacted their life. And, you know, there is another option. for those of you, or if you really like helping others, and I was in a state or a time in my life where I really enjoyed my police career when I started. But after a few years of working shift work and after taking the Neolife products, I realized that I was in a place in my life where I knew that wasn't what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I wanted more. I wanted to impact people's lives, and I wanted to have more time freedom, which I wasn't having with my job. And, you know, as I started to grow my Neolife business, I was able to leave my police career and have the time freedom. And I help other people now build businesses internationally. And I help people with their health, which, as you heard most of the stories tonight, they're so inspiring. And I'm so grateful and so blessed to be part of a company that truly does impact people's lives. So whether you just want to join to use the products, whether you're thinking about maybe a side gig of making an extra $500 a month, $1,000 or more, or even a six-figure income, just ask and we can help you and just any step of the way. And if you just want to learn more, jump on our calls every Thursday. We have different topics every week, and the information is truly life-changing, and you never know whose life, you know, you can change by sharing some of this information. So again, I do want to thank you for joining us tonight. I will be stopping the recording and opening it up to any questions that you may have. So thank you again for joining us this evening.